most production gardens, you'll see all of one variety planted together, and that's for ease of picking. We have to go to visit multiple parts of the garden to pick during the day, but the idea behind it is, say, I have zucchini planted here. I don't have to worry about squash bugs on 3 rows of zucchini. They stay kind of right here, so I can manage that. And it tries to keep the disease pressure down a little bit as well. Like with the tomatoes, I don't have to worry about blight jumping as quickly.
So tell me a little bit more about your horticulture philosophy here at the farm.
So we are 100% herbicide and pesticide free, and then we try to mitigate the pests by intercropping and doing companion plants. So we have nasturtiums planted on the end of the rows with the tomatoes, and then also I'm trying to intercrop them with the zucchini this year because they help to mask the scent of the plant for the pests that may come.
And then out beyond the gardens, you have a number of animals on the farm. So what are you doing with that?
So we have laying hens. Those rotate. We're using those to rehabilitate the pastures. And they feed the pasture with the nitrogen from their manure, and they scratch around and also eat the insects, which reduces a lot of the insect pressure out there.
We try when we can to build sustainability into stuff. So when you look at the chicken wagon, it's got gutters on both sides that feed 30-gallon barrels that are inside, so that as long as we get rain, they keep the barrels stay full, and that's where they can get water from during the day. There's a water inside and the water outside. And then it's actually got onboard feeders, because as much as I would like them to be able to get everything from Mother Nature, the grass and the bugs, they still need a little bit of supplement.
And then we also have broilers out on pasture, and pretty much the same. We rotate them every day. So every day they move on to fresh grass. And so they are helping us reduce the weed pressure out there and rehabilitate the pasture again, because this used to be a horse farm and they did hay here, and then since then a gentleman has been grazing cattle here.
But when if you went out to like some of the pastures that have only been where the cattle have been and stuff, you can just tell the difference when you go from there over to the ones where the chickens have been. They're much greener, they're lusher, there's not all the bare spots.
Yeah.
So we are seeing, already in a year, we are seeing some improvement.
But I don't think originally your background is farming. So tell me more about the career path that brought you to this place.
So I'm an Air Force brat, and I would classify myself probably as a suburbanite. And Dewey grew up, one set of grandparents had an apple farm, but he lived in the suburbs also. And we both met in the Army. We'll have been married about 15 years. We met on a deployment to Kuwait. He was the force protection officer, and I was the logistics officer.
There's only 1 or 2 arguments.
But we figured if we could work together for a year, and still think we were in love, it must be true love. So we got married, and our careers brought us to Virginia, and we just love the state. It's beautiful. The people are awesome. So it's been a good career, and I always tell people if I knew then what I know now, I would have signed up sooner.
So it sounds like you've been a few places that actually might be hotter and more humid than where you live now in Virginia.
But and colder. She tells people while in Kuwait she'd have to borrow my jacket on a regular basis because
it gets cold in Kuwait.
It gets cold in Kuwait. So, but yes, they're much hotter at times there.
And you're wearing shirts that say Veteran Farmer Program.
Yes.
What is that all about?
So in 2018, we decided to become farmers. We're really enjoying our garden, and so we tease Dewey and tell him he's just Google it. So he started researching what it would take for us to be farmers, and we stumbled across a program that's run by Arcadia called the Veteran Farmer Reserve, where they bring veterans and family members in from across the country to woodlawn plantation once a month and teach them the basics of farming, seed starting, how to do succession crops.
While they do focus on produce, they do take you out and they introduce you to other, cattle, sheep, goats. When she saw the goat milking, I knew I was in trouble, so I'm still waiting for that to come into the future.
And the beds we're standing in, how old are these?
We finished them all this spring. So the ones over here we did last summer. And then everything else was built this spring. And when we talk about a family affair, it was our 2 girls, our 2 sons, our 2 son-in-laws, and our granddaughters, plus the 2 of us with wheelbarrows, hauling compost and wood chips with wheelbarrows.
Attempting to do, no-till as much as possible, so to grow the soil here. So I think, like I told you before, we tilled everything one time. In some spots, we did a really good job of tarping it to kill off some of the wiregrass and other stuff. And then me and the youngest son built 1x6 frames that were 30 inches wide and 30 feet long. Put the wood chips around one side, compost, put the next frame down, and just continue to build and leapfrog. And like she said, 70 of the 72 beds were all with wheelbarrows. The thing that slowed us down mostly was getting the wood chips, and fortunately we met some great tree services and arborists in the area, and I now have a pile of wood chips.
Yay!
So what did the Army do to prepare you for this second career in farming?
We were joking the other day when we were out here that the Army prepares you for fire missions. You start out with a plan in the morning of what you're going to get done, and as soon as you start working on that plan, something else comes up that's critical and has to be addressed like right at that moment. Like one time we were out here watering and a pipe busted, so everything else has to stop and the pipe has to be fixed. And I think that the adaptability and the flexibility that comes from having been in the military, people have this mentality that people in the military are very rigid and that there are rules and everything has to be lockstep. But the truth is that, the military environment is very fluid, and you have to be adaptable and you have to be open to accepting that change and changing course.
And it sounds like you have a lot of plans moving forward. So how are things going to go in the future for y'all?
Well, we are really hoping to expand our customer base. This year is kind of feeling out what will grow here, getting our timing down. The bees, we have 5 hives right now, and so next year we're hoping to be able to offer honey, and possibly next year, once we see the timing, we might be able to do a small CSA.
Well, thank you again for having us out to this beautiful site in Palmyra, Virginia. It's absolutely inspirational to see what you've done in such a short amount of time. Thank you again.
Thanks, Robyn.
Thank you, guys.